This time on Harry's Home Garage, we're back at Simon's. We're going to take a look back at that Honda Accord there. We're going to get the thing jacked up, start taking off the accessories, pop that valve cover off, have a look and see if the timing belt is skipped. If it's only skipped like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 teeth, shouldn't be too bad. We didn't hear a lot of clacking in there when we were turning it over, so we're hoping that there was no metal on metal contact with the valves and the tops of the pistons. So we're going to check that out. Easiest way to fix it would be to just turn that thing back, pop that belt back on, and hopefully it starts. We're going to see. So we got this thing jacked up now. We've got it up on the actual jack post, the Honda jack posts places here that you use to jack your car up if you get a flat tire or whatever. We jacked it up with the jack and we used a wooden block and we braced it on the subframe here with the wood so it would not like bite into here, because sometimes those jack teeth will bite in. So anyways, we've got it up on 4 jack stands. As you can see, this is a pretty wonky driveway, so we've got a little bit of angle action going on here, but I pushed on the car pretty hard and it didn't tip or shake or rattle or anything. So I think we're gonna call that safe. We're not gonna be under here. We just wanted to jack it up so we have the car higher up for easier working on access to the engine bay. We got the valve cover off. I had to move the power steering pump here. It's just two bolts. One's the adjuster one on the inside here, and then the other one's on the other side. Take those 2 off, pop that out of the way. Had to move this wiring out of the way so I could get the plastic cover. You can already tell that this timing belt is riding a little dirty here. It's kind of hanging off the side a bit. As you can see, it's not centered. It should be more pushed in like that. So that's leading me to believe that we are dealing with a skipped thing here. We're gonna have to take this part further though. I'm gonna have to take the wheel off the side so we can get at the crank down there, as well as get the lower cover off. Probably have to take off this upper motor mount here, this one here, and then we'll be able to pull that other side cover off. We're gonna have to loosen off the alternator to get that belt off, and then we'll be able to look and see if the other parts underneath are crooked or they're not lined up with the belt the way they're supposed to be. Then we'll spin this thing around to TDC with the crank and see if the topper pulleys line up. If they don't line up, we'll pull the belt off, then we'll line it up, put the belt back on, slap everything back together and see if we can start it. And that would be the easiest solution to this problem right now. But yeah, so we got it all taken apart. Remember to disconnect your battery every time you're doing work on your car with electrical stuff, even if it's just moving things around. You don't want to like cut a wire, create a short, zap yourself, anything like that. It's bad news bears. So our little setup here, we've got our tool cart here. I've been going through the sockets, finding the ones I need and throwing them on the top level, just keep them separate so I'm not digging through here every time I need to switch stuff. As well, we got a nice little table set up over here with a bit of cork on it to throw nuts and bolts and parts so we can keep everything organized and separated. Alright, so I'm going to have to take that wheel off the side here and then probably that upper motor mount and just start keeping on taking her apart. We just popped this this nut here on the main crank, so once we get this off we can take this lower housing off and then we can reline up the timing belt. We can tell that it's off already. We spun it around and it's not looking right. It's not looking like it was tensioned up properly. Sorry. It's all good. So it's not looking like it was tensioned up properly on the top, and so we're gonna basically put this on and see if we do the steps properly, if we can get this thing to fire. On the top here, we've now got the alternator off so to get better access here. Power steering pump's pulled aside. We put some a rag over top of the engine so that not a bunch of dust or dirt or stuff gets in the top of there. Now we're looking at the belts here. You can see the lower cover is off so we can see all the way down into there. We've removed the plastic here. Ended up breaking a piece. I should have just cut all the clips and because they're cheap and you can just put more on there. So now we've got full access to the belts here. We're just figuring out how to take the tension off of them so that we can get it all lined up again and then re-put the belts on. Alright, so we think we may have found the culprit here. Our top cam gear is snapped, like shear off. So I think what may have happened is that thing broke and we've got some mashed valves inside of here. So this engine might be toast. We might have to just look and see if we can find another engine, but we're going to keep tearing it down and see if we can't figure out if maybe we're the luckiest guys in the world and that cam just was fatigued and busted off there. But we're already preparing ourselves for the fact that we're going to have to start looking for another motor for this car. we've stripped the engine down a bunch. I got the fuel rail off. I got a bunch of plugs off. We got the top off, the cam off obviously. But then we were hungry, so we decided to go eat some food before we drained the coolant out of it. And when we were looking online on our phones while we were eating supper, we found another car. And this car needs only a couple of things, and all the things that it needs are good on this car. So we could swap from a 4-door Bluey to a 2-door Greenie, and that thing's only going to cost maybe $300 to $400 from a guy who lives, I don't know, 40 minutes out of town. So we're going to see if we can scoop that. But for now, we're going to call the video for today. So I'd like to say thank you for watching. Definitely like and subscribe if you liked what you saw. Leave me a comment if you liked what you saw or if you didn't like what you saw. I'd also like to give a shout out to a few channels that have inspired me to make this channel. I've been watching a lot of Vice Grip Garage, a lot of Thunderhead 289, Junkyard Digs, those guys, Dylan McCool, a few others, Tavarish, Wrench Every Day, Goon Squad. All of these channels have really inspired me to start my own YouTube, which is something I've been thinking about doing for a long time. So once again, like and subscribe, and that's going to be it for the Blue Accord for tonight.